Hey there, welcome to LC Yoga. My name is Laura, and today we're talking about 6 things you need to know before going to a yoga class. First and foremost, flexibility not required. I hear a lot of people say, ugh, I can't go to yoga, I'm not flexible enough to do yoga, I can't do that stuff. Well, what you see online, pictures of people doing yoga, those are people who've been doing it for a really long time. We all started not flexible. Every single one of us arrived at a yoga class not flexible at all and had to get there over time. So if you're a beginner, and even if you're not, it's completely normal to not be very flexible. Most people aren't. And yoga is the remedy to that, right? That's one of the side effects of doing a yoga practice is to get more flexible. So you will get there. The most important thing you can do is to realize that the yoga poses should fit you, not the other way around. So where people get into trouble is they see someone doing a yoga pose and they say, okay, I want to do that. And they'll try to replicate it, but their body's not the same in many ways. And one of those ways is flexibility. So your body tries to adapt to it. And that's when we end up not feeling good in a yoga pose. It's pulling something, it's, doesn't feel right. We end up sore afterwards, not feeling good. And we go, I don't think yoga's right for me because that didn't feel good at all. Don't try to replicate exactly what you see. You should be finding a yoga teacher who's going to help you modify poses to fit your body. So, for example, the way our spines are made dictate how deep we can go into a back bend. Now, there's some things you can do to do back bends deeper safely. Stretching the front body is one of those things, right? So practice brings a bit more flexibility in a back bend, but your spine is ultimately going to dictate how far you can go. And I've been doing yoga for 20 years, and my vertebrae stop me from doing deep back bends. And so it doesn't matter if I tried every single day to do the deepest back bend, they're never going to get deeper. And a matter of fact, I could hurt myself if I keep trying. So we have to understand what's stopping us in a pose and work on that if it's something that can be worked on. And if not, do our version of the pose and call it a day. So flexibility not required. Certainly make sure that you're making those poses fit you. And if you're not sure how to do that, ask your teacher or find a teacher who teaches in a way that helps you find those modifications. Next, number 2, everyone is self-conscious. So when you think about going to yoga class, you go, oh, everybody's going to be looking at me, right? Everybody thinks that. Everyone. Once you go to yoga classes for long enough, you stop worrying about that because you start to realize that everyone thinks that. So you stop worrying about it for yourself. And part of what yoga teaches you is to sort of go within and kind of deal with feelings like that, first of all. But yoga is a community. Whether you're practicing online with other people or you're doing a home yoga practice with a teacher and a video or you're going to a class, it's a community. And you start to realize that the yoga community is so welcoming and accepting. No one's judging. We look at each other and we go, you're doing your practice? That's awesome. We all kind of have that attitude. So don't worry about it. Just try to dismiss that stuff. And as you get on your mat, even if there's 50 people around you, which most classes are smaller than that, but even if there's 50 people around you, just realize they're all sort of in that same place. And you're there to go within and then figure out what you can give to the people around. Number 3 is sort of related to number 2. but it's specific to your yoga teacher. I used to think going to a class that a yoga teacher would be judgy, that they would be looking at me going, I don't know how long she's been doing this or who she thinks she is, or just because they're such an expert in yoga, right? The opposite is true. I happen to know a lot of yoga teachers now, and being one myself, I will tell you this. They're there to help you. They want to give. That's why they became a yoga teacher. So if you're new, we love beginners. We absolutely love beginners because we remember when we were beginners, and we know that you are looking for a teacher to bond with, to feel comfortable with. Again, whether that's online or in person. And we want to help you, and we want to help you find what yoga has given us, because that's why we became a teacher in the first place. We did yoga for whatever amount of time, and it gave us so much that we said we want to give it away. So that's why we're there. So just know that your yoga teacher is there to help you. At the beginning of the class, they'll probably ask, is anyone here new to yoga? Proudly raise your hand if you're a beginner and say, this is my first class, or I've been to a couple, but I'm still pretty new. Just raise that hand, because that teacher is going to give you a gift during that class. They're going to pay some special attention to you to make sure that those poses are fitting your body and that you're not hurting yourself or trying too hard to get into a pose to look like someone who's been doing it a long time. Number 4, what to bring. Not much. That's a great thing about yoga. It doesn't require a lot of equipment. It doesn't require anything special, really. Find a mat that you love. But your yoga studio or teacher may actually supply mats. So you can call ahead and find out if they have mats that you can use if you don't want to bring one with you. I tend to travel most places with one, so I will always have one with me. But find a mat that you love and bring it with you. You don't need a special strap or a bag, although that, a bag might make it easier to carry. But you don't. Just throw that thing under your arm and show up. And you may need some props during your practice, especially when you're new. You may need a cushion or bolster or a block. Most yoga studios, if not all yoga studios, have those things available. So again, you can call ahead to find out what they do have. And at the beginning of class, when you walk in, they'll usually have a closet or a shelf that has those props on there. And go ahead and grab what you think you're going to need. And if you don't know, you may want to ask the teacher. Usually the teacher is kind of hanging out before class. Feel free to walk over, introduce yourself, and tell her you're new, he or she, that you're new, and say, hey, I probably will need a block, potentially. Do you think I'll need one with what you're going to be teaching today? And they may say, maybe. Go ahead and grab one, just put it by your mat, right? So feel free to ask tons of questions, and that's what they're there for. They're there to help you. Number 5, what to wear. And the answer to that is whatever you want. Just make it comfortable. Just make it comfortable. The yoga clothing industry is enormous, and there's lots of brands, and I've tried a lot of them, and I will say that what I've ended up with has been just comfortable. So find what you're comfortable in and wear that. So maybe it's full yoga pants, maybe it's, biker short length. I live in Florida, I'm going to wear shorts most of the time. As far as tops go, cover up or don't. Whatever you're comfortable in, wear that. As for guys, a lot of times you see guys in sort of baggy shorts. Because that's what they're comfortable in. Something that breathes nicely, it might be whatever you wear to the gym. That works too. It doesn't take special clothes to do yoga. A lot of times I work from home, and after work, I'll come upstairs in my work clothes and, do some poses and do a short yoga practice. So it really doesn't matter. I'll do it in jeans in a hotel room, right? So if you're comfortable, you're wearing the right thing. Lastly, number 6, you may want to learn some basic poses before you go. And it's not required. You can show up and not know anything and just be there and do the best you can to follow along. But if you want to prepare a little bit, learn some basic poses. And how do you know what the basic poses are? Good question. It's going to be, there's a set of poses that are pretty common. Some common standing poses, some common sequences like sun salutation A and sun salutation B, sometimes sun salutation C. And they're standard standing poses as well as those that are done on the floor. And there's sort of a set of those that you'll probably want to kind of get a clue about beforehand. I'm actually going to put together a series of videos that are workshops on poses, so that'll help you. But what you're looking for are, you can even Google basic yoga poses, and you'll find things like Warrior 1, Warrior 2, Triangle pose, Pyramid pose, things like that. Upavishta Konasana, which is a wide-legged forward fold on the floor. Chair pose, just some basic things. And if you can familiarize yourself with those basic poses, when your teacher cues them, you won't have to be looking around as much as you can just focus on going within and doing the practice. That being said, usually your yoga teacher will be doing the practice with you. Some teachers will walk around, but a lot of them will do the practice while they're cueing it. And so feel free to look straight at them and do exactly, what you see them doing. And that's going to help familiarize you with the poses. But if you can give yourself a little briefer beforehand, you'll just be more comfortable. So I hope you enjoyed my 6 tips for going to a yoga class. I hope they were helpful. And if you are interested in learning more, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed today's class, come find me over on lcyoga.com. There you'll find all kinds of content that doesn't exist here on YouTube. With a 30-day free trial, you'll find commercial-free complete beginner series, intermediate flows, workshops, at-home retreats, challenges, lots of stuff to help you grow and expand your practice. So start your 30-day free trial at lcyoga.com, and I'll see you there.